read from the book itself. So you know the background. Ajāmila was a son of a Brahmana, trained up to be a good Brahmana, but just by seeing a Shudra, an uncultured person, in association of a prostitute, he fell down. Although he was being trained up to be a very, very well-trained, nice Brahmana, but when he went to the forest to collect the kusha grass and samid, and when he was coming back, he just happened to see these two individuals in their amorous acts, just the sight of it. So that shows how strong Maya is. So now Ajāmila fell down because of his association with this prostitute, and he gave up his Brahminical culture, and in the association with a prostitute, he became very degraded. And when he was 88 years old, he was about to die. Then 3 Jamadūtas came, and seeing the Jamadūtas, he became extremely frightened. And he, out of fear, he called out the name of Nārāyaṇa, which happened to be the name of his youngest son, to whom he was very, very fond of. And just because he chanted the name Nārāyaṇa, immediately the Viṣṇudūtas came. And he prevented the Jamadūtas. Jamadūtas, yes, Jamadūtas are real. They come with whip and noose in their hands. And they drag the person out of his gross body. The subtle body is dragged out of the gross body at the time of death. One doesn't want to leave the body, but Jamadūtas come and drag him out of his body when they don't want to leave the body. And then they take them to Jamaraj, who is the ultimate judge. And he judges. So all these descriptions you'll find here. That's why I decided to just read the translation of the verses. When the Jamadūtas saw the Viṣṇudūtas, they appreciated their beauty. And the Jamadūta said, "Your eyes are just like the petals of lotus flower, dressed in yellow silken garments, decorated with garlands of lotuses, and wearing very attractive helmets on your heads and earrings on your ears. You all appear fresh and youthful. Your 4 long arms are decorated with bows and quivers of arrows, and with swords, clubs, conch shells, discs, and lotus flowers. Your effulgence has dissipated the darkness of this place with extraordinary illumination. Now, sirs, why are you obstructing us?" So here you can see the difference between Jamadūtas and Viṣṇudūtas. Jamadūtas are very hideous looking. They're very cruel face, and their body is full of hair, and their hairs are standing like erect, and they have club and a noose, and opposed to that, the Viṣṇudūtas, so handsome, so beautiful, so serene, that even the Jamadūtas are appreciating their beauty. Then Viṣṇudūtas asked the Jamadūtas, "Okay, who are you? Why did you come here?" They said that they came to take this sinner to the abode of Jamaraj to be punished. So Viṣṇudūtas challenged them. So you seem to have acting on the platform of dharma, religion. So can you please tell us what is dharma and what is adharma? What are the symptoms of religious principles and symptoms of irreligion? The Yamadutas is very important actually. The Yamadutas replied, that which is prescribed in the Vedas constitute dharma. Dharma is what has been prescribed in the Vedas. Dharmam tu Shakshat Bhagavat Pranitam. The religious principles and the opposite of that is irreligion. The Vedas are directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nārāyaṇa, and a self-born. This we have heard from Jamraj. We have to remember that Jamraj is a Mahajan. He is one of the greatest Vaishnavas. Then Yamadutas continued, the supreme cause of all causes, Nārayaṇa, is situated in his own abode in the spiritual world. Nevertheless, he controls the entire cosmic manifestation according to the three modes of material nature, Sattvagun, Rajagun, and Tamagun. Although he is situated in the, that is their understanding, although this is, the Lord is situated in his spiritual abode, still he controls the modes of the material nature. And in this way, all living entities are awarded different qualities, different names such as Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya, different duties according to the Varnashram Institute, and different forms. Thus, Nārayaṇa is the cause of the entire cosmic manifestation. Then this part is actually very important. Please note carefully. The sun, fire, sky, air, demigods, moon, evening, day, night, directions, water, land, and Supersoul himself all witness the activities of living entity. We should never think that, oh, no one is seeing me, so I'm safe. No one is, but here we are. Apparently, we may think that no one is watching us, but all of them are watching us. And mind you, the words of the Vedas, words of the scriptures are the truth and nothing but the truth. The sun, fire, sky, air, demigods, moon, evening, day, night, directions, water, land, and Supersoul himself all witness the activities of the living entity. The candidates for punishment are those who are confirmed by these many witnesses to have deviated from their prescribed regulative duty. So Jamraj is not just making his decision independently. He actually asked them, these are the witnesses, and accordingly he judges. And then they continued, those within this material world are all karmis, meaning they are subjected to act and get the reactions of their actions. Whether acting piously or impiously, they are susceptible or subject to the reactions of their actions. One who has accepted a material body cannot be inactive. Nahi kashchit ksanamopi jatu tishtati akarmakrit. Krishna is telling in Bhagavat. Nahi kashchit ksanamopi, even for a moment, a living entity can stay without acting. Akarmakrit, without acting. Therefore, all living entities within this material world are subjected to punishment. The omnipotent Jamraj is as good as Lord Brahma. For while situated in his own abode or in everyone's heart like Paramatma, he mentally observes the past activities of a living entity and thus understands how the living entity will act in future lives. So then the point, this is the Yamadutas are actually talking about the Sankhya philosophy, that there are 16 elements. Those 16 elements are 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. There are 5 working senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses: eyes, words, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and touch, and speech, hands, leg, belly, and genitals. And then above that, above the 15 is mind, and above the mind is the 17th element, the soul. So soul is the actual living entity himself, who in cooperation with these 16 enjoys the material world. And the subtle body is endowed with the 16 parts. The 5 knowledge acquiring senses, 5 working senses, 5 objects of the senses, sense gratification, and the mind. This subtle body is an effect of 3 modes of material nature. It is composed of insurmountable strong desires, and therefore it causes the living entity to transmigrate from one body to another body. Due to his desire, strong desire to enjoy, he acts, and those actions remain in the subtle body, and accordingly the subtle body gets the shape, and accordingly the subtle body is taken to the next gross body. It's according to his own action, the living entity gets his next body, and actually in Jamalaya, by getting punishment, that's next body is created. Next, the subtle body becomes fit to enter into the next gross body. So then they started to describe about Ajāmila. This Brahmana named Ajāmila studied all the Vedic literatures. He was a reservoir of good character, good conduct, and good qualities, firmly established in executing all Vedic injunctions. He was very mild and gentle, and he kept his mind and senses under control. Furthermore, he was always truthful. He knew how to chant the Vedic mantras, and he was also very pure. Ajāmila was very respectful to his spiritual master, the fire god, guests, and the elderly members of his household. Indeed, he was free from false prestige. He was upright, benevolent to all living entities, and well-behaved. He would never speak nonsense or envy anyone. So we can see what a wonderful personality Ajāmila was in his youth. And that shows that no matter how good, how noble, and how upright one may be, one is susceptible to fall down due to lust, karma. The sex desire is so strong that it can make even a very learned person fall down. And this is the perfect example. Look at all the qualities. Ajāmila was endowed with all good qualities. And we'll also see, it'll come to that when Ajāmila was affected by seeing that lustful action of those 2 characters in the middle of the forest, Ajāmila tried to restrain himself. He realized it's not right to be attracted to that act, but still he couldn't control. Once this Brahmana Ajāmila, following the order of his father, went to the forest to collect fruit, flowers, and 2 kinds of grass called Samet and Kusha. On the way home, he came upon a Sudra, a very lusty 4th-class man, who was shamelessly embracing and kissing a prostitute. The Sudra was smiling, singing, and enjoying as if this were proper behavior. Both the Sudra and the prostitute were drunk. The prostitute's eyes were rolling in intoxication, and her dress had become loose. Such was the condition in which Ajāmila saw them. Now, then he became affected by lusty desire in his heart. And in illusion, he fell under their control. As far as possible, he patiently tried to remember the instructions of the Shastras, not even to see a woman. Yes, for a brahmachari, is not supposed to even look at a woman. Well, I mean, that's not possible in this age. But those days, brahmachari used to live in the Guru's ashram, away from everything, away from such association. But although he knew that according to the instruction of the Shastras, he was not even supposed to see a woman. With the help of this knowledge and his intellect, he tried to control his lusty desires. But because of the force of Cupid within his heart, he failed to control his mind. The force of Cupid, influence of Cupid in the heart means lusty desires, for sex desire. In the same way that the sun and moon are eclipsed by a low planet, the Brahmana lost all his good sense. Taking advantage of this situation, he always thought of the prostitute, and within a short time, he took her as a servant in his house and abandoned all the regulative principles of the Brahman. Thus, Ajāmila began spending whatever money he had inherited from his father to satisfy the prostitute with various material presentations, so that she would remain pleased with him. He gave up all his Brahminical activities to satisfy the prostitute. Although born in a Brahmana family, this rascal, bereft of intelligence, because of the prostitute's association, earned money somehow or other, regardless of whether properly or improperly, and used it to maintain the prostitute's sons and daughters. This Brahmana irresponsibly spent his long lifetime
We seem to have lost video connection with Guru Maharaj. Krishna Kishore Prabhu, if you're still around, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
This Brahmana irresponsibly spent his long lifetime transgressing all the rules and regulations of the Holy Scriptures, living extravagantly and eating food prepared by a prostitute. Therefore, he is full of sins. He is unclean and is addicted to forbidden activities. This man, Ajāmila, did not undergo atonement. So now the Viṣṇudūtas are telling, and therefore, because of his sinful life, we must take him into the presence of Jamraj for punishment. There, according to the extent of his sinful acts, he will be punished and thus purified. Yes, this punishment is actually meant for purification. Now, the Viṣṇudūtas are responding. The Viṣṇudūtas are telling Viṣṇudūtas that Ajāmila has already atoned for all his sinful actions. Indeed, he has atoned for not only for his sins performed in one life, but for those performed in millions of lives. For in a helpless condition, he chanted the holy name of Nārāyaṇa. Even though he did not chant purely, he chanted without offense, and therefore he is now pure and eligible for liberation. So this is the crux of this lesson. That just by chanting the holy name of the Lord, even unconsciously, purifies all the sinful reactions, not only of this lifetime, all the previous lifetimes. But the only condition, as pointed out, that chanted it offenselessly. So that is the potency of the holy name. Chaitanya Charitamrita also said, Ek Krishna name joto pap hare, kono papir shaddha nai toto pap kare. The amount of sin one holy name of the Lord can eradicate. no sinner has the ability to commit that much sin. So that is the potency of the holy name. So, and mind you, this is in the Namabhash stage, not the pure chanting of the holy name. Offenseless chanting is giving Namabhash. And this Namabhash causes liberation. We can also recall Haridas Thakur in the house of Raghunath Das Goswami's parents. He was giving a discourse and he mentioned that the amount of sin one holy name can eradicate, no sinner has the ability to commit that kind of sin. He also mentioned, Koti janme brahma gyane jei mukti noy, shudumatra namabhashe shei mukti hoy. The liberation that one cannot achieve by millions of lifetimes of Brahman realization. Just in Namabhash, not even pure chanting, but the shadow of the chanting or reflection of the holy name. The chanting, when it's not the holy name, but the shadow of the holy name or the reflection of the holy name, Nam Abhash. One can become free from all sinful reactions and become liberated. Even Viṣṇudūtas continued, even previously, while eating and at other times, this Ajāmila would call his son, saying, my dear Nārāyaṇa, please come here. Although calling the name of his son, he nevertheless uttered the 4 syllables, Nārāyaṇa. Simply by chanting the name of Narayan in this way, he sufficiently atoned for the sinful reactions of millions of lives. The chanting of the holy name, Vishnu, is the best process of atonement for a thief of gold and other valuables, for a drunkard, in this way he's actually describing. The Lord himself is saying, because this man has chanted my holy name, my duty is to give him protection. One who chants the holy name of the Lord is immediately freed from reactions of unlimited sins. Even if he chants indirectly or to indicate something else, jokingly, for musical entertainment, or even neglectfully, this is accepted by all the learned scholars of the scriptures. If one chants the holy name of Hari and then dies because of an accidental misfortune, such as falling from top of a house, slipping and suffering broken bones while traveling on the road, being bitten by a serpent, being afflicted with pain and high fever, or being injured by a weapon, one is immediately absolved from having to enter hellish life, even though he is sinful. As a fire burns dry grass to ashes, so the holy name of the Lord, whether chanted knowingly or unknowingly, burns to ashes without fail, all the reaction of one's sinful activities. In that respect, Prabhupada gave an example that fire, if you put your hand in the fire, knowingly or unknowingly, consciously or unconsciously, it is going to burn. So similarly, the potency of the holy name, whether we chant the holy name knowingly or unknowingly, unconsciously or consciously, it will have its effect. Of course, the conscious chanting has a much better effect, and that is that when we chant the name with proper sambandha gyan, knowing that these names are Krishna's holy name, then of course the results are different. That name, the pure chanting, gives Krishna prema. Nam Abhash gives liberation, and pure chanting gives Krishna. Then Sukadeva Goswami told Parikshit Maharaj, O subduer of all enemies, after the servants of Jamaduta had been answered by the order carriers of Vishnu, they went to Jamraj and explained to him everything that had happened. Having released from the nooses of Jamraj's servants, the Brahmana Ajāmila, now free from fear, came to his senses and immediately offered obeisances to the Viṣṇudūtas by bowing his head at their lotus feet. He was extremely pleased by their presence, for he had seen them save his life from the hands of the servants of Jamraj. O sinless Maharaj Parikshit, the order carriers of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Viṣṇudūtas, saw that Ajāmila was attempting to say something, and thus they suddenly disappeared from his presence. After hearing the discourses between the Jamadutta and Viṣṇudūtas, Ajāmila could understand the religious principles that act under the three modes of material nature. These principles are mentioned in the three Vedas. He could also understand the transcendental religious principles, which are above the modes of material nature and which concern the relationship between the living being and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the important thing, important point. Please take note. He could also understand the transcendental religious principles, which are above the modes of material nature and which concern the relationship between the living being and the Supreme Personality of God. That is the Sambandha Gyan. That is the first consideration. A living entity, one must understand his relationship with the Supreme Personality of God and act accordingly. Furthermore, Ajāmila heard glorification of the name, fame, qualities, and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of God. He thus became perfectly pure devotee. He could then remember his past sinful activities, which he greatly regretted having performed. Ajāmila said, "Alas, being a servant of my senses, how degraded I became. I fell down from my position as a duly qualified Brahmana and begot children in the womb of a prostitute. Alas, all condemnation upon me. I acted so sinfully that I degraded my family tradition. Indeed, I gave up my chaste and beautiful young wife to have sexual intercourse with a fallen prostitute accustomed to drinking wine. All condemnation upon me. My father and mother were old and had no other son or friend to look after them. Because I did not take care of them, they lived with great difficulty. Alas, like an abominable low-class man, I ungratefully left them in that condition. It is now clear that as a consequence of such activities, a sinful person like me must be thrown into hellish condition meant for those who have taken broken religious principles and must there suffer extreme miseries. Was this a dream I saw, or is it reality? I saw fearsome men with ropes in their hands coming to arrest me and drag me away. Where have they gone? And where have those four liberated and very beautiful persons gone who released me from arrest and saved me from being dragged down to the hellish region? Because of a moment's association with devotees, Viṣṇudūtas, Ajāmila detached himself from the material conception of life with determination. Thus, free from all material attraction, he immediately started for Haridwar. In Haridwar, Ajāmila took shelter of a Vishnu temple, where he executed the process of Bhakti Yoga. He controlled his senses and fully applied his mind in the service of the Lord. Ajāmila fully engaged in devotional service. Thus, he detached his mind from the process of sense gratification and became fully absorbed in thinking of the form of the Lord. When his intelligence and mind were fixed upon the form of the Lord, the Brahmana Ajāmila once again saw before him four celestial persons. He could understand that they were those he had seen previously, and thus he offered them his obeisances by bowing down before them. Upon seeing the Viṣṇudūtas, Ajāmila gave up his material body at Haridwar on the bank of the Ganges. He regained his original spiritual body, which was a body appropriate for an associate of the Lord. Therefore, one who desires freedom from material bondage should adopt the process of chanting and glorifying the name, fame, form, and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, at whose feet all holy places stand. One cannot derive the proper benefit from the methods such as pious atonement, speculative knowledge, and meditation in mystic yoga, because even after following such methods, one takes to fruitive activities again, unable to control his mind, which is contaminated by the base qualities of nature, namely passion and ignorance. While suffering at the time of death, Ajāmila chanted the holy name of the Lord, and although the chanting was directed towards his son, he nevertheless returned home back to Godhead. Therefore, if one faithfully and inoffensively chants the holy name of the Lord, where is a doubt that he will return to Godhead? So, didn't you get a wonderful gift from Srila Prabhupada? And from Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON, from Srila Prabhupada's devotees. So, okay. So, if you have any question, please feel free to ask. Okay, Narahari. Okay. Hare Krishna, Parameshwari.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Yeah.
Guru Maharaj, you have mentioned that Ajāmila chanted unconsciously, but it was offenselessly. But my question is here, if somebody already committed some offense to Vaishnavas, and at a certain point he understand that he did that, and he realized that, and what's the way to get rid of that, and how the person can get rid of that committed offense?
Yeah. Yeah, well, so first of all, don't commit offenses. And if you commit offense, then beg forgiveness from it. Right? This is the important thing to consider. Very good point. Like we should always be very, very careful not to commit Vaishnava Aparadha, because that Vaishnava Aparadha has been considered to be the mad elephant offense. You see, it's a garden of Krishna consciousness with a Bhakti Lata in it. There's the creeper of devotional service. Now, if the mad elephant enters into that garden, what will happen to that creeper? So don't allow that mad elephant to enter into that garden. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Yes, Haribol, Narahari.
My respect for obeisances to you, and thank you so much for the 3 days of the wonderful classes that you've given. I really appreciate that. In this class, I wanted to ask about this Ajāmila and a person. So due to the COVID-19 virus that we are facing, a person who's passing away may not be conscious and may not be able to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. So what happens in that case?
Yes, like it's difficult to say that when one will be able to, or whether one will be able to chant the holy name at the time of death or not. Because from external condition, we won't be able to make that out. Because what is going on in his mind at that time cannot be detected from his external situation. But of course, it is in a way unfortunate that when one leaves his body bereft of the association of devotees. Because association of devotees is very important at that time. Because even if we may forget, but the devotees around us will remind us about the Lord and the holy name. So therefore, you see, therefore we should not take things for granted that now that we are in ISKCON, when the time comes to die, like devotees will be around us and they'll create the good fortune for us. Now we are seeing that we cannot really be that confident about that situation. Like So we have to prepare ourselves in such a way that no matter in whichever way we leave our body, in whichever condition we leave our body, we must remember Krishna. We must prepare ourselves in such a way, even though we may not have the association of devotees, we should be able to remember Krishna. And when we are alive, this is the time to prepare ourselves for that, right? And also the other consideration is that when one sincerely renders devotional service, surrendering to Krishna, then Krishna will remember him. Krishna gave the assurance. When one surrenders unto me, I will take care of him. So Krishna is giving us the assurance, but on our part, we should also try our best to prepare ourselves for that moment. All right, it's a two-way traffic. Don't just leave it entirely up to Krishna. On our part, let's do our job and let's see what Krishna will do. All right. And this COVID-19 actually was a big wake-up call. We are actually seeing what may happen. We may have to leave our body in a hospital or some place without the association of devotees. Who knows what may happen to the world? Can you imagine if there's a nuclear war, what will happen? We won't even, get a chance. Our body will turn to ashes in a flash of a minute, flash of a moment. The body will evaporate completely. So that may happen because all the nuclear warheads that have been created, no one knows, if they're activated, what will happen. Therefore, since we have this opportunity to remember Krishna, prepare ourselves, let's continue to serve Krishna without deviation, with all sincerity, and totally depend upon him. Thank you. Yes, Haribol Sundarananda Prabhu, Krishna Kishore, Sundarananda Prabhu.
Maharaj, this Ajāmila pastime is very hope-giving, but it's quite confusing to me because I'm still struggling with the offenseless and offensive chanting. So he just chanted offenseless once by calling his son's name at that time, and he got the benefit. Now, when devotees chant, they often do commit offenses. I'll have the offensive chanting, but a significant amount of time they also are offenseless when they are chanting. So is it the absorption? What is the offensive component that is most problematic, or in a way most degrading for our spiritual life? And how does it work? Because eventually I do expect devotees to chant at least a proportion of time offenselessly and in absorption. So are we all heading with Viṣṇudūtas, or there's still a problem?
Yeah, very good point. Very good point, Sundarananda Prabhu. You see, that's why it's so important to read Srila Prabhupada's books. Because as we read Srila Prabhupada's books, this awareness will develop, right? That awareness, like a sambandha again. Like not just chanting, to whom we are addressing when we are chanting. Who is he? What is my relationship with him? And when we meditate on that, then automatically our attachment to the material nature will reduce and diminish. And that is the ultimate consideration, where consciousness is. The offensive chanting will happen only when, or mostly when, we are absorbed with the material nature, or the illusory energy of the Lord, external energy of the Lord, right? Therefore, the thing is to take shelter of his internal potency. And when we take shelter of the internal potency, then the possibility of committing offense automatically reduces. Because, then, glorifying him, his name, form, qualities, and pastimes, meditating on them, takes us to another reality. And in that reality, the possibility of committing offense is not there. So ultimately, we have to actually transport ourselves from this reality to that reality.
Thank you, Maharaj. So nice.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dearest Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and you, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
I was just reading up on, although you didn't touch on this topic, but reading up on purport of text 3 from this particular chapter. Fifth line in, Srila Prabhupada is stating that he's mentioning to how in America one of the politicians was taken down by people, and he says this is only one case, but there are many others. Because of the importance of Krishna consciousness movement, people should be Krishna conscious and should not vote for anyone who is not Krishna conscious. Now, Srila Prabhupada has made it pretty clear. And however, as Vaishnav, we shouldn't really be looking or going too much into politics anyway, because we should be devoting time to KC activities. However, Guru Maharaj, does that mean that, or what should be our take on when people say that one should exercise their right of voting? We know very well that most of the leaders who are standing there hardly Krishna conscious these days. So should we vote next year or not?
Well, it's difficult for me to say, like, yeah, when Prabhupada said that, like, there's a Bengali saying that whoever goes to Lanka becomes a Ravan. Right? So all these political leaders, I mean, because they're not Krishna conscious, they can't really direct people. Today I saw one cartoon, or kind of a cartoonish statement, that they had the retarded individuals. The first two, number one is one boy, and number two is Donald Trump. He is considered the topmost, second most retarded individual. And so these are the people, those who are leading the world. So what to do? Therefore, you see, not just by abstaining will not serve the purpose. Personally, I feel that eventually we have to have a Krishna conscious government. And in order to have a Krishna conscious government, today it's a democratic world. We have to have a Krishna conscious political party. Prabhupada actually mentioned that in one of his Bengali poetries, that when will the time come when the High Court judges will go to the court wearing Vaishnav Tilak, and the heads of the states will be elected by, Vaishnavas will be elected as the heads of the states. So that will happen only when we have, Krishna conscious political party. Not that ISKCON has to get involved in the politics as such, but the aware Krishna consciousness should become so widespread. So many people would become Krishna conscious that they would elect a Krishna conscious leader to lead them. And for that we need a structure, and that structure is a political party. And the thing is, Prabhupada is correct, right? Naturally, Prabhupada is always right. Like, what's the point in voting somebody, when we know that he is just a useless, unscrupulous individual? Thank you, Vrindavilasini. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much for your classes. Appreciate all the wonderful topics. There's a couple of questions I wanted to ask you, Guru Maharaj. One of the question was, when Bhishma Dev, this is going from the first session of your class, Bhishma Dev was talking to the Pandavas, he was saying that the Pandavas suffered so much in King Kunti, but he mentioned that they suffered because the inevitable cause of time. Well, why did he mention time and not karma? Because we understand that we suffer due to karma. Are they sort of interrelated, time and karma?
What was that? I couldn't get that. Like,
sorry, Ramesh, when we were talking about Bhishma Dev, you mentioned about the Pandavas suffering so much and Queen Kunti.
Okay.
So he mentions that this suffering was caused all due to the inevitable cause of time. But why did he mention time and not karma? Because we all understand that karma.
Okay. Although Bhishma Dev said that, but the actual thing is, the devotees, pure devotees of the Lord, doesn't suffer due to karmic reactions, right? Their devotees are above karmic reactions. They're under direct control of Krishna, under direct protection of Krishna. And one of the reasons we can say that they were in the forest, one of the reasons was that the sages in the forest needed to have the association, and they also needed the association of those saintly people in the forest. That's why they were in the forest. They actually spent 10 years just, like associating with those saintly personalities in the forest.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's only at the last year that they got into the, the fight with Ravan.
Okay.
But other 13 years, they were associating with the saintly personalities.
Okay.
They were, whatever situation they were in, they were having a good time, right? They were not suffering as such.
Okay. The other question I wanted to ask you, Guru Maharaj, was on the topic of King Kunti yesterday. She mentioned to Krishna, let these calamities happen again and again, so in that way we can remember Krishna. But you answered part of that question earlier on, that pure devotees never suffer. But isn't that one of the four forms of devotees who pray for Krishna? Those who are in distress, those who want money, wealth, or inquisitive, or just interested in the absolute truth. Should we just be happy and joyous when we think of Krishna all the time rather than feeling suffering? Why was she saying that?
Well, the devotee's mood is, in whichever situation Krishna places me, perfectly all right for me. If he makes me live in a palace, that's all right. And if he makes me live under a tree, that's also all right. That's the attitude of a devotee. He is not depending upon material arrangements for his well-being. He is, simply perfectly all right, because he is so absorbed in serving Krishna, thinking about Krishna, glorifying Krishna, that he doesn't care about the external situation.
Okay.
Right? Whatever the external situation is like, he is experiencing transcendental joy from within, just being absorbed in his Krishna consciousness. All right.
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj.
And of course, we have to say that that's a very advanced stage. And obviously, Kunti Devi naturally was in that stage. She was a pure devotee, an eternal associate of Krishna. But from that, we learn what is the attitude of a pure devotee.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for giving your association through wonderful seminars. Guru Maharaj, my question is that you mentioned that even if that person is so noble, by coming into contact of material modes of nature, he can fall down. On the other hand, if a person is coming out of sinful life, then while performing the devotional services, that person is feeling that guilt, which is disturbing the mind of that person. So and thinking that how that person is eligible for getting the mercy of Krishna and spiritual master. So how that situation can be understood and taken care of.
You see, that's the difference is like somebody is alone and somebody is being protected, right? Say when you are alone, no matter how strong, how powerful you may succumb to some dangerous situation, right? But if you're being protected by a very powerful, very strong person, then no matter whoever comes, he'll take care of him. So the situation of a devotee is like that, you know. He is being protected by Krishna. Therefore, he is safe. Whereas, you know, Ajāmila situation or other persons, you know, as you mentioned, like they may be so great, so noble, so qualified, but because they're alone, they're susceptible, right? Whereas the devotees, because they're under the shelter of Krishna, they are protected and they're safe. All right? So now you know how to remain safe?
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances.
Hey,
thank you.
How are you? You're in
All
London?
the better. No, I'm in South Africa, Maharaj, in Cape Town.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering, yeah. Happy to see you.
Thank you very much for your wonderful association, Maharaj. It's been very blissful over the last few days. Maharaj, I had a question from yesterday's presentation. As householders, you know, most of the devotees, we are householders. So how do we balance our lives between, you know, having material aspirations and our, you know, our spiritual aspirations? Because it seems that, you know, to be materially successful, one has to be like very motivated. If one wants money and to make money, one has to really be motivated. So how do we balance that, Maharaj? And the second part of my question would be, is it wrong as devotees, or especially as householders, is it wrong for us to want to have some sort of stable material situation in which we can practice our, you know, our sadhana bhakti? Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah. Thank you, Ruparagana Prabhu. Very nice question. You see, you know, this is the difficulty in the age of Kali. The material situation is so difficult, you know. I mean, we can see like life, especially for householders, are extremely stressful because the situation, the society has become so complex, and so everything is so much dependent on money, you know, and the money doesn't come easily. Therefore, you know, it's Kali's arrangement actually. Kali is trying to take everybody away from, you know, the path of dharma or proper spiritual path and drag them down to the materialistic way, you know, by creating these complexities, you know. Like everything has become so expensive. People are drawn into the cities and there the life is so expensive. Rent is so high to live. Everything, every commodity is so expensive that the whole life practically becomes committed just to earn money to maintain the family. And there is no time practically for spiritual activities. So, I mean, that is the situation, but Srila Prabhupada has brought this Krishna consciousness as the saving grace for this age. No matter how difficult the situation may be, a sincere devotee will continue to chant the prescribed number of rounds and abstain from four sinful activities. And if these two things are practiced, you know, Krishna will be happy about that. And ultimately, Krishna is the one who is going to reward the devotees, you know, for their spiritual activities. Therefore, you know, we have to have the faith that, well, in spite of all our difficulties, let's just at least adhere to the process that Srila Prabhupada gave. And in a way, this process is quite simple, like just by chanting. In one hand, the age of Kali is extremely difficult. It's a very, very critical phase. But at the same time, Krishna has given a process which is very simple. Kirtanadeva Krishnasya Mukta Sankapara. And then, I'm confident that as Krishna consciousness spreads, like arrangements will be made that devotees will be able to live in a more conducive atmosphere, right? Like, and I think this COVID-19 situation, like COVID-19, is going to help the world to move towards that direction. People will, we don't really know what's going to happen to the world after this crisis. And probably people will realize, that better to move back to nature, move back to the villages and live there a simple life, not worry about, all this, technological and industrial development that they have made. Let's not fall for that illusion. And let's lead a life of simple living and high thinking. And I think, a lot of devotees will have to consider that, and move to villages, create the communities there. Prabhupada wanted that, to be self-sufficient. We can't be self-sufficient in cities. In order to be self-sufficient, we have to move to the villages. We have to move back to the nature. And in the nature, like Prabhupada also said, like, just with 2 acres of land and 2 cows, one can maintain his family. So let us see what happens. And the point that you raised is very, very important, that most of the devotees will be householders. And how will they maintain themselves in a Krishna conscious environment, practicing their spiritual life properly? And we have to think of situations like that, Let's see what happens. The thing is that we are the pioneers of Krishna consciousness. So, we'll be facing all those difficulties to create the right situation. Can you imagine the early Christians? What kind of difficulties they had to go through? Compared to that, we are pretty well off. So let us see. There will be some hardship, but let's voluntarily accept the hardship to create a better world for our future generations. The difficulties that we are going through, with that in mind, let's try to create the situation where the future generations won't have to go through those difficulties. That is a responsibility we have. And anyway, let's see what happens. And we are seeing how critical the situation is. Like, can you imagine, like, just consider, thousands and thousands of people from Iraq, Syria, they're coming to Europe seeking for shelter. Many of them were millionaires. Many of them were living in palaces, right? And they lost everything. And now they're begging for shelter just so they can live somewhere and have a shelter and some food. And it's happening. It's happening in some parts of the world. And who knows what's going to happen to other parts of the world day after tomorrow. So let's be prepared for any kind of situation, any kind of calamity. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam, all Gurus to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for giving nectar since last 3 days. I have a question in Ajāmila pastimes. So Ajāmila chanted holy name of Nārāyaṇa at the end and at the death time. So is it that simply chanted at the last moment, or he was chanting when he was youth also? So I just trying to understand.
That has been mentioned, that even when Ajāmila was living with that prostitute, like he used to call his son Nārayaṇa, while he is calling, Nārayaṇa, come and eat. Nārayaṇa, don't do that. Nārayaṇa, come here. Right? So he was calling. And just by calling Nārayaṇa's name, he was creating his good fortune and atoning for his sinful reactions. Okay.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
Guru Maharaj, I have a question that, as you mentioned that when the person accumulates the piety, they go to the heavenly planets. And then when the piety finishes, they drop down. But they drop down on the Bhurlok in the Rakshasas planet. And then, with their tears, they become rain and fall down on the earthly planet. So does that happen to each and every living entity who goes to heavenly planet?
Well, it will depend how they are exhausting their piety. The piety is like wealth, subtle wealth. Just like in the material nature, if you go for some good time, some enjoyment, you have to pay the money. So in heavenly planet, you pay that with your piety. And when the piety is exhausted, kshine punya martalokam vishanti. When the piety becomes exhausted, then they fall from heavenly planet, right? And in heavenly planet, there is no death, but they fall into the planet of death, that is earth planet. What I described, it is actually described in Mahabharata, that how a person falls and then the Rakshasas actually eat, and then his soul leaves his body through his tears. That tear falls into the earth as a raindrop, and that soul then enters into some plant, comes out in the form of a grain. Someone eats the grain, then that soul enters into the semen of that person, and then through the semen enters into the womb of a mother and gets another body. So that is, as you're asking, whether it happens to everyone. Everyone's destiny is not the same, but generally this is what happens when one falls from the heavenly planet.
Okay, very welcome. Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Guru
Krishna.
Maharaj. Please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to you and to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, in Bhishma's passing away session 2 days ago, you mentioned that when Draupadi asked Bhishma where his dharma was, Bhishma said that he had eaten food provided by Duryodhana, which was contaminated. Now, when Draupadi was being humiliated in court, Vidura was also there. And Vidura, when he realized that his advice was falling on deaf ears, left the courtroom. But Bhishma and Drona did not leave. My question is that Vidura was also being provided food by Duryodhana. So what was the difference between Bhishma eating the food and Vidura eating the food?
No, Vidura was not eating his food. Vidura was maintaining his simple life without his help. Vidura was smart.
Okay. Okay, so although he was working with Duryodhana, he was not.
He was in the family. He was a family member, but he did not. I mean, he was there as a part of the family member, but he didn't get affected by Duryodhana's misdeeds or crooked activities.
Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances, always Srila Prabhupada and you. Thank you so much for all your classes you have been giving during the lockdown. It's been really great support to me. Thank you so much. And I have two questions, if I can. So the first question is, like you said, Ajāmila, when he was chanting, he became purified. So I was wondering if you could elaborate what state of consciousness he had when chanting the name of Nārāyaṇa.
No, I didn't get that. What was the last part of your question?
Yes, what was his state of consciousness when he was chanting the name of Nārāyaṇa?
Well, he actually called out to his son, right? He called out to his son, but because he chanted the name Nārayaṇa, the Viṣṇudūtas came there. At that time, he did not call Nārayaṇa by the name Nārayaṇa. He called out to his son. And that is called, unconscious chanting. Still, he got the benefit of Nam Abhash, became free from all his sinful reactions. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Any other question? How many?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Many questions. Okay, let's see.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah.
Please accept my humble obeisances. Guru Maharaj,
you speak a little, go close to the thing. It's quite loud.
Guru Maharaj, I have two questions that even after finishing all the sinful reactions in the hell, why does one come back again and suffer in this material world? And this is first question. And second question.
Because sinful reactions remain. One doesn't become completely sinful, completely free from sinful reactions. That's why he comes back again. And the ultimate sin is his aversion to Krishna. Because he rejected Krishna, he has to come back again.
Yes, Guru.
All right.
My second question is on behalf of my wife, that what mood should we follow to observe Bhishma Panchak Vrata?
You ask your temple, ask some devotees in the temple how to observe Bhishma Panchak. So, any other question?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah, go ahead.
Maharaj, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go quickly because in 10 minutes I have to give another class.
Thank you. Thank you, Maharaj, for your nice association. Maharaj, I have a question about holy name. What types of mental state is essential to concentrate on holy name deeply? I mean, how can we prepare?
When you are chanting, just hear. Shravanam, Kirtanam. Just hear. Holy name is sound, right? How do you receive sound? Can you receive sound with your hand? Can you receive sound with your nose? How do you receive sound?
Yeah,
by hearing.
Through ear.
Through hearing. So when you chant, just hear. All right? And then the holy name will manifest himself. Okay. Go quickly.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah.
Oh. Pranam Guru Maharaj, on your lotus feet. My question is, this is very difficult to keep Sambandha Gyan during chanting holy name. Kindly explain how can I keep Sambandha Gyan smoothly?
Don't worry about Sambandha Gyan. Just chant and hear. Right? You don't have to think of anything else. Just hear. Okay? Prabhupada time and time again pointed out, just hearing and chanting. As I just said in answer to the previous question, it's a sound. Krishna appeared in the form of sound, right? So how do you receive sound? You receive sound with your ears, by hearing. Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Varshana. My obeisances to you.
Happy to see you.
Very happy to see you. Thank you for 3 wonderful days of Sangha with you. Very much appreciated.
Varshana, first of all, I want to thank you for all the help you're extending to Krishnagi. She always glorifies you and tells me how nicely you're helping. You are such a support to her. Thank you so much.
Maharaj, you don't have to thank me. We have to be there for each other as devotees.
True.
So. Maharaj, I just wanted to share something that I've read a while back, and it seems so appropriate for this time, and I've shared it with many devotees, and it seems very encouraging. It's a quote from Srila Prabhupada, and it's in regards to the question Narahari Prabhu had earlier on about being unconscious at the time of death. And may I share that?
Yeah.
This is from Srila Prabhupada, from a lecture from Srimad Bhagavatam in San Francisco, March the 10th, 1967. And Prabhupada says there, so if you become Krishna conscious once, even if at that time you are so-called unconscious, still Krishna is with you. He is not forgetful. He is not forgetful. Therefore, he will give you the proper result. Don't think that at the time of your death, because you are so completely out of consciousness, therefore there is frustration. No, there is no frustration. There is no frustration because your activities are already recorded by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated within your heart. So therefore, there is no question of frustration. You just practice. While you are in good health, while you are in good body, while you are in good consciousness, just practice this Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and the result is guaranteed.
Yeah, wonderful. Yes. Like, we should have implicit faith that Krishna will protect. Abhashya rakhive Krishna vishwash palan. Rakshishi iti vishwasha goptritte varanam tatham. Yes. So we should have, and Krishna is giving us assurance. You surrender, those who have surrendered unto me, I will take care of them. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvang sarva papibhyo moksheshami ma sucha. Ma sucha, don't worry about that. Yes. Yeah, but at the same time, we shouldn't just take it for granted and become complacent. Right? On our part, we have to keep going.
Yes.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. By your shelter and devotees' blessings and Krishna's mercy, me and my husband have recovered from COVID-19. I'm Srimati Priya from Leicester, and we've recovered from COVID-19. So thank you so much, and to everybody. My question was about the name Nārayaṇa. It wasn't just a coincidence, was it, that he named his son Nārayaṇa? It was some kind of fortune, wasn't it? Something there in the past. Must have been. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why in Krishna consciousness, we always give spiritual name.
Yeah.
So that, somehow or other we can remember Krishna.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I'm very happy to hear that you recovered from COVID-19.
It's the temple president, Pradumya Prabhu, and all the blessed devotees have helped tremendously with prasadam, shopping, looking after blessing, prayers, everything.
Yeah, there's the wonderful family of Srila Prabhupada, ISKCON. Okay.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Jamuna, how are you doing? Yes, unmute.
Hang on, yeah. I'm a lot better now, Guru Maharaj.
Oh,
Still a
okay.
little asthma, but I'm over the worst. So.
Okay. Very happy to hear that.
Yeah.
I was a little worried about you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Not
You
a
helped
little
me.
worried. I was very worried about you.
I was a little worried there for a little while. I think because I've had asthma for so long, I didn't get fever or symptoms like other devotees, but it's just in the lung, really, really badly. But anyway, I'm over it. And I'm still breathless sometimes, but the worst is over.
Now you're okay. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. So I'll take your leave now. Thank you all very much. I had wonderful association of all of you for the last 3 days. And I look forward to seeing you all soon in person. Hare Krishna.
You've got the name Kalindi. Kalindi is a lovely name.
Thank you. Hari Bol.
Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you everybody for joining this session. This was the last session with Guru Maharaj. Now Guru Maharaj is actually also already on his way to give another Uddhav Gita on his YouTube channel, which is starting in 10-11 minutes. Guru Maharaj will be live on YouTube on his channel, delivering in English the Uddhav Gita. So if you want to get more darshan from him, then you can go to the YouTube channel for Bhakti Charu Maharaj, and you'll be able to hear his Uddhav Gita live also. And that's every day in English at this time, 1:30. Also, we'll have the retreat, the May retreat from School of Bhakti. The registration links are coming out tomorrow. And that is a special retreat with a lot of amazing devotees, a little bit of a sneaky preview in that we will have Amarendra Prabhu, His Grace Amarendra Prabhu will be joining us on this retreat for May. And we'll also have the Srila Prabhupada disciples, including Pankajangri Prabhu, Vishaka Mataji, Akhandari Prabhu. That's many people. And we'll also have workshops for you in the afternoon. So we'll have cooking workshops. We have different workshops on many things, as well as children's corner. So plenty of activities going on for you at the May retreat. Look out for the details. That's coming out very soon in the next couple of days. Thank you again for joining us for School of Bhakti. I will be with you shortly again very soon. Hare Krishna.